Um, I'm not sure what else I could possibly do on my end. Let me just see if that had any effect at all. Maybe. Cross our fingers. Yay, we are on. Okay, my goodness. Crazy. An official second time. Greetings and welcome to SEM Mondays, my live open Q&A show here on YouTube. I am so glad I was able to get that going. There's three different main parts that happen here, and well, four, and two of them I can't restart once we go with YouTube. The way it's set up, once you start streaming, you can't stop, and if you stop, you can't restart. So I apologize. This has been quite the technical difficulties. Last week it was very similar, and I was not able to get us going. But I'm thrilled that we're here to not only answer your questions about source energy medicine, but as a way to continue to support you during this pandemic. We're going to will be invited to experience an energy healing session. There's an energy healing component that's part of source energy medicine. It's known as the non-material aspect of source energy medicine. Same technology that's in our charging labels, except there's no material substance. It's simply energy work. If you are new to source energy medicine, not familiar with the non-material aspect of source energy medicine, when we're done here, just search in Google or search on YouTube for non-material aspect of source energy medicine, and you'll see videos. There's one video where I go in depth and talk about it as best as I can. And there's also a video if you are already registered in our free course, our free source energy medicine course. That video is included in the quick start guide. And if you don't know about the free source energy medicine course, it's an absolute must. It contains everything that's essential to your journey with source energy medicine. So make sure you check that out. There's always a link in the show notes to all of the replays. And today I have some exciting news to share with you. Just before I share that exciting news, and I'm not trying to tease it out or anything, but this is your time that we have together today. So if you're here with me live and you have a question, indeed, please type something into the chat, or type your question into the chat, and I'll do my best to get to as many questions as possible. And I love that, for the folks who are exploring our free course, the Source Energy Medicine Quick Start Guide, I think it's very thorough, providing you take the time to go through and watch all of the video modules. I think we're up to 16 modules in there. So I created SEM Mondays as a way of being able to have an open office hours, if you will, for our free course, because all of our other courses, all of our paid courses have regularly scheduled open office hours where you get to go into much greater depth and detail, answering your questions about whatever it is you like to talk about regarding source energy medicine. So, and then at the last part of our broadcast today will be the group energy healing session. I'll explain a little bit about it, but I can't explain everything. Otherwise, SEM Mondays would be even longer than it has expanded into already. So, special exciting news is, it feels like I'm gonna share a disclaimer, and it's certainly a story, but historically speaking, my story is I just have no linear time, and I just don't get it, right? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like we're out of sync. Now, that said, I value punctuality. I value promptness. I value you and your time. So it's really rare that I'm late for any kind of an appointment ever, which is interesting for a guy who can't relate to linear time. So I absolutely rely on setting 2 alarms for everything that is important in my life. But I just have no concept of it. And the reason why I share that is for the last 8 or 10 months, and I don't know exactly how long it's been, but it feels like a really long time in terms of 8 or 10 months worth of long time. In the non-material alumni club, right, folks who have gone through the workshops for the non-material aspect of source energy medicine, the energy healing component of source energy medicine, we have been exploring work that previously we have not been able to access. And the work started out with, if I remember the sequence correctly, started out with being able to do work on a soul level that we weren't able to access before. We weren't able to, certainly source energy medicine charging labels and a non-material aspect of source energy medicine. We could work on the soul, but nowhere close to this level of depth. And I actually see the soul and the spiritual aspect of our being as two separate beings, right? Two separate parts. The soul, to me, is that eternal, divine, it's the animating source, right? It is that source that is part of your life experience, and it is essential for human life experience, right? And animals as well. Animals have souls. A lot of people don't think animals have souls, but I firmly believe they do. And if you are a proficient muscle tester, just to test it yourself. Animals absolutely have souls, and sentient beings. I think that's one of the reasons why we are sentient beings, right? And certainly humans are different sentient beings than animals, and yet I firmly believe that everything in creation has a soul, and it's a different. A human has a different soul than a plant does, but yes, plants have souls, trees have souls, and I think it's one of the reasons why people, if they're wise, go around hugging trees, because trees are very, very, very healing. Can be very healing if it's a good, healthy, happy-looking tree. It could be very, very healing, very grounding, very nurturing. So this work explored working on a soul level, and what became very, very clear to me very early on is that now this has been going on since 1941 or so, when we started using the scientific breakthroughs that ultimately were utilized to create nuclear weapons. We as humans on planet Earth were given essentially our last chance to get it right, our last chance to stop the destruction, stop destroying our natural resources, and stop killing each other. And since 1941, it's like we've had a countdown clock running, and we haven't done such a very good job since 1941 to now, 2021. And it's as if, it's I think it's a good analogy to say sudden death over time, right? That, like, our time ran out, and yet the over beings, those that protect, help try and help to keep us safe and guide us. The sudden death over time, like, this is it. If we don't figure it out now, if we don't fully start living into the truth that we are indeed all one, and stop killing each other, stop destroying our planet and our natural resources, and start openly and freely sharing everything with everyone, and just having a much more collaborative, cooperative experience rather than an egoic-based experience that's entrenched in fear and the individual, right? So I'm convinced that the state of the world that we live in is because of people walking around with what I can only characterize as a damaged soul, a soul that has been not just bruised, not just minor cuts and scrapes and scratches, but seriously wounded, right? Significant damage to our soul. And lost sound. Anyone else? Please tell me if you still have sound. Judith doesn't have have sound. I think we're good, Judith. I'm hoping that it's on your end. Can the rest of the folks who are here with me live please let me know if you still have audio? Just give me a thumbs up or an emoji or something. I'm going to pause here. There's no sense going on if you folks can't hear me. I think we're good. You know, if the stream on your end is interrupted, you know, the sound could drop out. But I think we're good. Susie says okay. Good, good, good. Give me a chance to catch my breath and have a sip of tea. So, the damage. So it's the soul that incarnates in every human life experience. Now, you may or may not believe in reincarnation. I think there are some excellent books on the topic, and I'm not here to debate it, and I'm not here to try and convince you of anything. But from energetic testing and from doing the work that I've done for as many years as I have, and in part because of the books I read, like Dr. Michael Newton's book, Journey of Souls, Dr. Brian Weiss's books. Recently, I started exploring Dolores Cannon's work. And, you know, between all of these different sources, I'm highly convinced that we have multiple life experiences, and it's the same soul that has that life experience each and every time. Now, when our soul is not in physical form, it's not damaged. It's pure positive energy. It is pure potentiality, and it's much more expanded in terms of its ability than when it's in human form. When we incarnate and we take on human form, we embody the soul that is part of the mental, physical, material realm, right? It's more part of humanhood and less part of a divine being, if you will, or a divine nature when we're in the non-physical aspect, when we're not in physical form. And it's part of our soul that stays in physical form. And I believe it's that connection between the part that's in the non-physical with our human life experiences that animate us, right? That help to ensure that we stay in the same life experience, right? I believe it is that connection that breathes my lungs, that beats my heart, that does all of the autonomic nervous system processes, right? Digest my food, I don't have to think about it, anything like that. It controls a lot of things. Now, as if that's kind of not bad enough, Einstein theorized he was not able to prove it mathematically, but doesn't mean that it's not true. I believe it was true then, true now. Whether you could prove it mathematically or not, all time, well, A is an illusion, which I think is part of my challenge with linear time. It's an illusion, and yet all time is happening simultaneously, meaning there's no past lifetimes and there's no future lifetimes. If you read Anita Moorjani's best-selling book, Dying to Be Me, she shares her death experience. She was clinically dead and for a significant amount of time, and when she was in a non-physical, she saw that her soul had different life experiences, except they were in different bodies, and she said they were definitely not past lifetimes or future lifetimes. They were simultaneous lifetimes, like Einstein theorized, somehow happening in different levels of dimensions, or different levels or different dimensions, right? So in some way, ancient Egypt is happening now. It's all happening now, and it's somehow stacked on top of each other. I see it kind of like a high-rise building where each floor is a life experience. Each floor is a time period. Each floor is a specific era. And part of the challenge to me in this human life experience, and you in the body you're inhabiting, and the sound that you are, the life that you are experiencing. Hopefully you're experiencing some sound too. It carries forward forward, not a good, it carries with it damage from other life experiences. It's as if these floors in this high-rise building are the insulation is horrible, and that there's leakage, there's filtering up and down. And I think it's human created. It's not part of the divine plan. It's not part of, but it is definitely part of this human creation. So the work that we have been exploring in the non-material aspect of source energy medicine is actually going back in time traveling, using the illusion of time to our massive advantage, really exploiting it in such a good way, going back to when our soul was born, when our soul was created. And from that place, then we start to have these different experiences that we have. And if you read Dolores Cannon's material, we have incarnations as everything that you could possibly have incarnations as, from a single cell amoeba to a rock to a plant to a piece of corn, to every animal, every species, before we start having these human life experiences. And if you're not familiar with Dolores's work, it's all based on case studies. She was a hypnotherapist, and she did past life regression therapy as part of her hypnotherapy treatments. And this is all information that she gathered from working with hundreds of thousands of clients over, I think, about a 40-year period of time. So she's not making this stuff up. It's not channeled material. It's information that has come through when her patient, her client, was in very, very deep hypnosis. And a lot of parallels between Dr. Michael Newton's work, which is exactly the same model, and Dolores's, and yet they weren't, as to the best of my knowledge, they didn't collaborate, they didn't work on anything together. So we time travel, and first thing that we do is we actually wrap a protective shield around the soul, and that is like creating better levels of insulation between each life experience that we can have, or each floor in this high-rise building. And then once that is in place, then we can transform, balance, and restore the damage. And it's transforming and balancing, restoring the damage from every single life experience that we ever have had and ever will have, because they're all happening simultaneously. And then once that happens, then the only damage that I can do to my soul is from this moment moving forward. And the only way I could damage my soul is through a significant trauma, an emotional trauma, or some sort of self-emotional abuse, or inflicted emotional abuse for that matter. It's not just emotional abuse that is self-inflicted, right? Emotional abuse for most people is significantly more damaging, more impactful than any kind of physical abuse. As humans, for the most part, we can tolerate severe physical abuse, comparatively speaking, to emotional abuse. So once we do that, then we're able to do essentially the exact same thing with our emotional body, except our emotional bodies are attached to this life experience. So, and again, it's my emotional body that actually can create damage in the soul. So once we're able to shield the soul, transform, balance, and restore the soul, then we're able to transform, balance, and restore the emotional body. And we put a shield around the emotional body as well. And that protects other life experiences from potentially influencing my emotional body. It doesn't protect me from emotional abuse this moment moving forward. However, if I only have isolated bits of things that would be emotionally traumatic, most humans have the ability to cope with that. And then, of course, exploring source energy medicine, even with the charging labels, we're able to transform, balance, and restore that quite nicely. So moving forward, really not a concern. And then the next step is to, once that is done, It is very much, to a very, very large degree, it's like hitting this massive cosmic reset button where everything in life has to be different. Now, keep in mind, this is really most helpful if you're at your ideal energy level, right? So if you've been exploring source energy medicine for any length of time, hopefully you're there, right? Hopefully your subconscious mind has already been transformed. You're at your ideal energy level. And if you're not, part of this special masterclass will be starting there, right? To help to ensure that you're at your ideal energy level, that your subconscious mind has been transformed, so that the other work can have the really maximal benefit, right? When we fast forward to this moment in time and integrate everything, because the last step is this integration, right? Where we're bringing this, after the cosmic reset button, complete fresh start, complete shiny, bright, glorious soul, which enables our spiritual aspect to just open magnificently. And then we have an emotional body that is completely transformed, balanced, and restored. So that too is nice and bright and shiny. No dings, no scrapes, no band-aids, or worse, right? No serious scars or wounding. And it is, and it's all calibrated at your ideal energy level, right? So everything is in alignment, and everything then becomes fully integrated. And once it's fully integrated, at least for me, and what I've heard from a few people from our non-material aspect of source energy medicine community, is that I've never really felt comfortable being human before this. Always felt like maybe I shouldn't be here, kind of thing, that there could be a mistake, but I always felt like, like that. And for a long, big part of my life, I just couldn't wait to get out of this body, right? Whatever, closest exit, show me the way. And I'm just so thrilled to, that hasn't been true for me for quite some time, thanks to source energy medicine. And yet this work on the soul body and the emotional body has taken that to new heights that I never imagined really was possible for me, right? I just have this new interest and curiosity and thirst for life, and I feel so much lighter. I don't feel burdened. I don't feel weighed down. I don't feel drawn in a lot of different ways that I, would often catch my attention, and I'm sensitive enough that I would ask, is that related to this lifetime? Like, is that mine, quote unquote? And it wouldn't be, and yet it was still this strong distraction, right? So distraction's gone, feeling finally like I'm home, right? Meaning in this body. And yet, it doesn't, I'm highly confident from a lot of past life and life between lives regression therapies that I have done. It doesn't compare to being in the non-physical. And yet I do think it enables us to be the best version of our human self as we could possibly be, and be able to take maximum advantage of this life experience wherever it is that we are on our life journey. So if this is the least bit interesting to you or intriguing to you, we have a special master class, and it's starting a week from tomorrow. So it's actually launching the very first. It's all going to be virtual, right? So from the comfort and safety of your own home, you don't have to get on a plane or a train or drive halfway across the country to get to me or me to you. You get to stay in the comfort of your own home. It's all going to be virtual. It's all going to be on Zoom in our private room, where we'll be able to create this safe environment. And it's going to be a series of 4 webinars. They'll be about an hour each. Everything's going to be recorded and archived. You'll have long-term access to all of the replays, and there definitely will be added advantage to rewatching some of these. And I'll explain which ones will be most helpful. Like the soul work, once we do that, we don't actually have to revisit that unless we have like some really, really, really horrific things happening in this lifetime. And even there, I think that the charging labels would probably be sufficient. But in terms of the soul shield and the emotional body shield, these last, I guess, 6 to 10 months is like how all of this work has been coming about. I haven't heard from anyone who has tested their shields needing to be replaced or even updated, right? They auto-update, they auto-refresh, they auto-renew. So it's going to be 4 approximately 1-hour webinars on Zoom. I'm really greatly limiting enrollment so that I have the ability to support everyone as best as I can, right? So the class size is going to be small. Everything's going to be recorded. You'll have long-term access, and it'll be 4 Tuesdays, and we're skipping 1 Tuesday between the third part, the emotional body work, and then the integration piece, so that there'll be 2 weeks for that work to somewhat settle in before we integrate it and really do the final bits of work. And I'm super, super excited. We started to announce this to our community. So if you have seen the email about it, you know probably more logistics than I just shared. It's going to be $222 US dollars. And I'm not sure. We'll likely offer this again in some format, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to take the content and just have it be available moving forward. But the next time we offer it, there will be it'll likely be $333 the next time we do it. So if you're the least bit interested, you could, if you're here with me live, type something into the chat, or if you're watching this in replay, just scroll down and leave a comment. Let me know that you're interested in it, or reply to one of the emails. Started sending emails over the weekend, and we have there were enough people that replied saying yes that we're definitely doing this. So May 11th is the first day, so it's going to be a really short time of registration being open, and if we fill up fast, we're going to just close registration. So that's what I have to share. If you have any questions about the special masterclass, I got to tell you, I've wanted to take what we have been exploring, the soul work and the emotional body work, and share it, and I haven't been the best way of being able to do it. So spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of soul seeking, a lot of meditation, soul seeking, literally. Contemplative prayer kinds of things. And this is going to be just so off the charts, it's not going to be funny. And, with everything that I offer, all of my workshops, I offer 100% money back guarantee. If you're not absolutely thrilled with it, just let me know. So there's absolutely no risk. And I think one piece that's really, very, very important to point out, like different from the emergency preparedness masterclass where you're learning a lot of stuff, you're learning special protocols, what to do to not only to stay healthy, but what to do should signs or symptoms of anything occur, right? Any kind of acute condition. This masterclass, the soul masterclass, is going to be much more experiential. Right? I'm certainly going to explain some stuff so that we're all as much on the same page as possible. So there certainly will be talking, but there's not a lot of, it's not didactic, right? I'm not going to be teaching and you're not going to be learning, although you may learn some stuff. It's going to be very experiential, right? It's going to be much more energy work based. I'll explain what we're going to do, and then we're going to do, and then talk about what just happened, right? So it's going to be very, very experiential, which I love, right? Because I don't know about you, but exploring any kind of healing without some sort of measurable results, something tangible, it's interesting, but it doesn't interest me so much as having some really good, strong, experiential evidence, right? Something that's measurable to back it up. And I think there's massive benefit. I've done this work considerably one-on-one with people, and I think there's massive benefit to doing it in community, like the work that we do in the Non-Material Alumni Club. Even that feels very, very different from when I do it one-on-one with a client. When I do this soul shielding, soul transformation, balance, and restoration, and then the emotional body shielding and the emotional body transformation, balance, and restoration, and integrating everything. So it's beyond exciting for me, and I do indeed hope that you are interested in exploring this. So one way or another, let me know. Keep an eye out for emails. Milo's working on the registration pages and stuff like that. So likely by the end of the day today, if you replied yes that you are interested, you'll have the opportunity to be able to register right away and claim your spot, and guarantee you'll be able to participate in this. This is I love everything that we have produced in terms of our online workshops and the emergency preparedness masterclass. I'm just absolutely love that, and this feels very, very different. And I love that it's just an experience, right? It's this experience that we're going to have individually, and then we're going to share in it, right? In community. I don't know about you. We could just open up registration and just, Zoom. We can have a lot of people on Zoom, and I don't want you to feel like I don't see you, I don't connect with you, I don't recognize you. And there'll be people in this masterclass that I don't know, so I look forward to getting to know you. And there'll be lots of people I've known for likely years, and I think this will be an opportunity for us to connect in ways that we haven't been able to connect before. So, thank you, Susie. Susie is interested in the masterclass and says, thanks for explaining. Thank you, Susie. You are awesome. You are really, really just like such a bright, shining light in our community. What a beautiful, beautiful soul you are, my friend. So, I'm going to pause here and see if there are any questions about any of that. I think I covered all of the logistics. But I think that the way this is unfolding and the momentum that is behind us, like, this is something I think I'm going to be talking about for the rest of my life, likely, no question about it. I think for a lot of people, it's going to be like one of those fork in the roads moments, right? Where it is this auspicious time in our human evolution and in each of our lifetimes where we have some really serious choices to make. And those choices are going to put us on a trajectory moving forward that, I think is going to have very significant consequences, either horribly negatively, if you could put it that way, or if I could put it that way, or lead to a life of continued grace and blessings and miracles, and probably beyond your fondest imagination or what you've allowed yourself to imagine. So the group non-material source energy medicine session, I think it's really important for you to know that we're simply transforming slow energy to fast energy. And when we do that within source energy medicine, it's very, very different than any other healing methodology that I've come across, whether it is considered to be integrative or holistic or alternative or, conservative mainstream. Everything outside of source energy medicine focuses on killing, fighting, combating, eradicating in one way or another. And source energy medicine is none of that. Source energy medicine is simply recognizing that there's the only thing that's wrong with anything that could lead to any kind of challenge or difficulty or area of lack is its vibration, right? So we focus on just simply transforming the particles or waves of light information from wherever they are. We don't have to know where they're calibrated, upward in frequency to a calibration that is super helpful, right? And we each have an ideal energy level. And if you don't understand much about or anything about calibrated energy and energy levels, you can search on YouTube. There's some good videos that we've done where I explain vital importance between calibrated energy level and how it affects every aspect of my life, right? So we could calibrate every aspect of my being, but within source energy medicine, I'm much more interested in the whole or the average. Wherever it is, it's just data. It's just a matter of fact. But Dr. David Hawkins, his research indicated that 87% of the human population calibrates below this weakening level that is not helpful, and it's actually it's one of the reasons, one of the key factors that is always present with anyone who's ever experiencing any kind of dis-ease or imbalance or area of lack in any kind of life, any aspect of life. So because we're simply transforming slow energy to fast energy, no possibility of a healing crisis, no possibility of a healing reaction or catharsis. You don't get worse before you get better. And results can be experienced instantaneously, right? What folks often describe as a miracle, because the fighting, the killing, the combating not only has so many problems. There's so many flaws with that approach. It's not funny, but it takes time, right? Which I think on one hand is actually probably a pretty good thing. Otherwise, it would be a worse model than it already is. And, I got to tell you, a lot of the integrative wellness methodologies that I've studied, holistic healing methodologies or alternative healing methodologies, however you would like to characterize them, they fall into that model, right? Combating, killing, trying to nullify a vibrational pattern. And it's futile at best. So from that perspective of simply transforming slow energy to fast energy, I think it's really important for you to know that, yes, I'm guiding you, and yet it is always you who is indeed healing yourself. I don't look at myself, I don't characterize myself, and I certainly never refer to myself as a healer, because you are always the healer if you are the client, the recipient of any treatment, right? Any kind of energy work or any kind of methodology that you might explore. And it is indeed that divine part of you, right? It is that soul aspect of you that is always responsible for healing yourself. So if you think about it, just to kind of tie this whole theme together, if you have what would be characterized as a damaged soul or a wounded soul, how well do you think you'll be able to heal yourself? So if you think about being calibrated below 200 and you add on top of that, having a damaged soul or a wounded soul, it compounds the difficulty, right? So, and it's interesting because, up until 8 months ago, we didn't have access to any of this, right? So we were simply transforming what we could transform and balancing what we could balance and restoring what we could. And now we're able to go further, right? Now we're able to go deeper and reach a level of depth that is just super inspiring for me. So I always invite you to choose one goal or one challenge per session. And the reason why I say that, if I don't say this, somebody's going to ask, is it's just much easier to track. And you can come back and you can revisit any of the replays from any of the SEM Mondays for this last year, and you could choose another goal or another challenge. There's definitely benefit to watching the replay and revisiting these group energy healing sessions. Or a lot of people in our community have been doing that once or twice or 3 times a day just to help to ensure their health and well-being. And it's a respite. It's like unplugging for a bit from the stress and the fear and the trauma that's going on, and just really dedicating some time to your healing journey. So there'll be chanting going on in the background. I turn off my camera so that what I'm doing is not distracting in any way. And it'll likely be about 7 minutes or so. I never know how long it's going to be. And I think it's important for you to know that my intention, what I'm actually doing in this group session, I can't do everything that I can do when I work one-on-one with a client, but I can share the things that are most important to your physical health and well-being. You don't have to know what all the technical bits are, so I think it's important to, to realize that, right? So, on your end, a minimum of distractions certainly seems to help to increase the allowance, and increased allowance is the goal, right? And often the work is transforming the resistance, right? Transforming what could get in the way from the blessings and the miracles and the gifts from being fully embraced, fully received, fully materialized and experienced, manifest in every way that possibly can. So if you are in a place where it's safe and appropriate and comfortable to lie down and close your eyes, an awful lot of people, just, based on sharing this work for so many years, like that's the preferred way to experience it. But again, only if it feels safe and comfortable and appropriate. And if not, just choose something that is safe and comfortable and appropriate for you. And again, you can always come back and watch the replay when you can get perhaps more comfortable and less distracted than what you have going on in your environment. So I'm going to go ahead and get things set up technically here. When I come back, I'll check the chat for questions right before I come back on. And on your end, just simply allow. I don't really need you to do anything, even though you are indeed the one who is healing yourself. It's an interesting thing because it's not something that you have to consciously put effort into. It's almost the opposite, right? Just simply allow, simply trust the process, trust the divine orchestration that led you to this very moment and to this very experience. And feeling gratitude for this opportunity, gratitude for everything that is enabling you to experience this, I think is the fast track to experiencing in every way that you possibly can that goal or that challenge being fully realized. So go ahead and get nice and comfortable. And I invite you to take a nice deep breath. And I invite you to gently wiggle your fingers and toes. And take another nice deep breath. And if your eyes are closed, please go ahead and slowly blink them open. And come back to here and now in this time, space, reality. And SEM Mondays live here on YouTube. You know, participating and especially facilitating a group non-material source energy medicine session is one of the things that I value the most. It's just such a rich, uplifting, positive experience for me each and every time. And each one does indeed feel a little bit different, right? There's something that's unique, that's different about it. It's, I don't know, kind of like, I guess, making the same recipe of your favorite dish each time. And there's, subtle nuances that are likely different, at least the way I cook, that are different. So, and I think the way I cook and the way I explore source energy medicine is very, very similar in that, I have an idea of a recipe in mind, but I don't necessarily follow things to the exact measurement unless I'm doing something that exact measurements are essential. Which is kind of rare in my food prep world. So right before I came back on, I checked for questions, and a really brilliant question from Barbara Ann. She asks, should my husband do this as well? And she's referring to the special master class where we're going to focus on the soul and emotional bodies. If I just do it, will there be a change in our relationship? We both did source energy medicine. So a couple of things that I really want to clarify here, Barbara Ann. The most important part is you've both done source energy medicine. And when one person in a relationship does explore source energy medicine and the other doesn't, it can lead to difficulty because there'll be so much vibrational discord. Now, since you both have explored source energy medicine, if only one of you chose to do the work on the soul level and emotional body level, providing you're both still at your ideal energy level, I don't think it's going to change your relationship much. However, both of you exploring the soul work and the emotional body work, I think creates different trajectories where that combined experience, right, that shared experience, especially thinking about it, it's two people who are at their ideal energy level, which is so rare, to do this kind of deep and profound work on our soul and emotional body. Now, I think it depends on the individuals, right? And really where you are in life and what your goals are, what your challenges are for that matter. But, I think one person at their ideal energy level creates amazing potential and possibility. Two people, especially with a common bond, and often that common bond is a soul bond, right? It's a strong soul contract. So I don't think if just one of you were interested and chose to do it and the other didn't, I don't think it's really going to affect anything radically. Although both doing it, I do think that you would, beyond having that shared experience, I think it would create greater potential and possibility. But if you have any questions or concerns about any of that, just let me know, Barbara Ann. But I think in an ideal world, everyone that lives in the same household should explore source energy medicine and at a similar pace. It helps to keep things in vibrational sync and vibrational harmony. Now, tomorrow on the open office hours for the fundamental source energy medicine community, right, for the folks who are participating in that workshop, that's the theme for tomorrow, Barbara. So, not exactly your question, but did receive a question from someone in our community that's relationship based, right? And if you think about it, when certainly likely, very, very likely true for you, just mathematically speaking, right? The likelihood of before exploring source energy medicine, you and your husband were both calibrated below 200. And challenge often arises when one person takes the journey and transforms their energy level and goes to their ideal energy level. When both people are at likely very similar calibrated energy level, but it's below 200, there's at least that vibrational harmony, even though it's kind of a lousy vibration, right? It's certainly where my calibration was before source energy medicine was way below 200. And I think, 87% of the human population is calibrated below 200. So people don't get into relationships who have much vibrational discord. It's just so. It's part of the attractor, right? It's that part of that law of attraction thing that happens so magnificently wherever we're calibrated. And it's one of the reasons why often I'll have someone exploring source energy medicine who is single and they want to get into a new relationship. I think it's better to wait till your energy level is at your ideal energy level and it's stable before looking for romance or really a business partner, right? Or a roommate for that matter. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's helpful, Barbara Ann. And it would certainly be a joy to have both of you participate. And if you have any questions about anything beyond that, certainly just let me know. God willing and technology willing, which, I think, I'm not saying that technology is separate from God, and yet YouTube takes what God gives us and then does stuff with it, right? We as humans, that's what we do. So everything willing, I'll see you back here next Monday. Between now and next Monday, take really, really, really extra good care of yourself. Be kind and gentle and gracious, first and foremost with yourself, but also have extra patience, extra kindness, extra compassion, tolerance, forgiveness for everyone that you encounter. And shed your love, your light, your beauty. One of the things about reaching our ideal energy level is that we just have to be that, and it positively affects those around us. And then if I'm being that, and then I'm being kind and gracious and generous, that's where miracles come from. So stay connected, in the various communities that you participate in within Source Energy Medicine. I really do love the reading emails from folks who have been revisiting a replay from SEM Mondays. You could just fast forward, use the scrub bar to get to the point where it's the energy healing session and just experience that. You're worth the 5 or 10 minutes, believe me, to a day or twice or 3 times a day to you really owe it to yourself, to your health and well-being, to your healing journey, to your peace of mind. So, as always, I wish you continued blessings on your journey with Source Energy Medicine.